HarlequinAudio is proud to bring you To the Edge by Anna Del Mar, performed by Summer Morton and Jeremy York. Chapter 1. Clara. My first attempt at submission went from failure to disaster in a whiff. An odd scent teased my nose and rattled my nerves. A prickle of uneasiness crept up my spine. I craned my neck, trying to figure out where the smell was coming from, but I couldn't see much beyond the narrow slits of my sequined velvet mask. Note to blog: velvet masks may shield, tease, and entice, but visibility sucks. I heard a small sound. A swish, maybe? It came from my right somewhere, from the hallway that led to the powder room. I tried twisting my body around in the cage, but I could barely move. My arms were fastened above my head, and my ankles were strapped to the bars near the floor. I sniffed the air again. The smell seemed fainter. Maybe it was my imagination, trying to shock some common sense into me and put an end to today's little experiment. I was alone in the old house. My companion had left 20 minutes ago, to find himself some coffee in town, he'd said. He'd left me cuffed in the cage so that I could reflect on my irreverent conduct. Right. Good luck with that, buddy. The truth was that he probably needed the caffeine boost in order to tackle a handful like me. I let out a little groan. Sure, this was crazy. No two ways about it. Reckless, my mother would say. Risky and not exactly consistent with my usually sane behavior. But honestly, I had suppressed my life for others' sake long enough. But this? A seditious little voice nagged in the back of my mind. I tried to quiet it down, but maybe, just maybe, I'd pushed the edge a little too hard on this one. God, the things I did in the name of freedom. The tight leather corset dug into my ribs. My arms ached. My legs were tired, and my feet were beginning to cramp in the impossibly high heels. Note to blog: kink garb isn't exactly comfy. Good God, I was actually going through with this. Me, Clara Luz, attempting something so far out of my comfort zone, not to mention my family's much-touted moral rectitude. I slumped in my bonds. Was I really so freaking desperate? A week and a half ago, Annette Collins, the legendary editor of RelevantSex.com, had presented me with a unique proposition. Annette had been my advisor in grad school, and as such, the only person who knew about my online adventures. From the beginning, she'd followed sextattle.com, the sex and romance blog I published. Anonymously, of course. It wasn't as if I was particularly versed or gifted in these oh-so-very fascinating subjects. On the contrary, my relationship IQ measured pretty low on the success scale. But the blog wasn't so much an advice column as it was a forum. Discussion questions came in through an unfiltered inbox. I posted them under different categories, and people talked about them. I was good at research, so I mostly shared facts and links to helpful resources. I followed the old adage: those who can't do, teach. Or, in my case, share online. Initially, the blog had been an experiment, a grad school project that went unexpectedly viral. But after graduation, the blog transformed into a labor of love, a means to connect with people, and the only possible way in which I could pursue my own journey, separate from that of my illustrious mother. These days, the blog had a very respectable reach, solid advertising revenues, and an expanding market that had caught Annette's eye. She'd made me an excellent offer to merge my blog with RelevantSex.com. The catch? Annette wanted a trial run, a main feature to woo the editorial board and test my range, a fresh, raw take on the topic of sex and submission.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?